Hello everybody, Ian Robson. Welcome to another edition of Coffee with Ian. So there's a fairly positive response from last time I did Coffee with Ian, so I figured why not, let's do another one this week. And some people mentioned about the audio sync. It's the way it is. I don't know, this particular webcam doesn't like me for audio sync issues. I have no idea why. So until I get a new one, I guess we're just gonna have to deal with it, which is, I'm fine with that. I rarely do full screen because of that audio sync issue, basically. So that's the reason why I just left it, and I haven't bothered with it for a while. I even tried to mess around a little bit to see if I could sort the issue out, but to no avail at this point yet. Maybe in the future I'll figure it out, and then I'll find out what's the right thing for it. So, anyways, it's funny. Someone actually said in the last Coffee with Ian that I was nervous on camera, or I looked nervous on camera. I don't know. Maybe I do. I have no idea. I think it might be partially just due to the fact that sometimes I have, don't know what you're going to say in these scenarios. So that's probably what I think it is. But anyways, seems like everyone has enjoyed County Line thus far, which is good. Some people suggested things like bigger equipment. Most of the suggestions were bigger equipment, actually, and kind of work up to the Big Bud DLC type equipment, I should say. Which makes total sense. It makes more sense than having like huge equipment right from the start, or having super small equipment. So I was thinking like somewhere in the neck of the woods of starting with 6 to 8 meter equipment as opposed to 3 meters. Leave a comment below if you think that's the appropriate size. So because people said larger equipment, how about this? We'll say it this way. If you think I should start with larger equipment, up in meters, what size should I start with? 6, 8, 10 meter stuff? So leave me a comment below with what your suggestions are on that. So anyways, that was one of the thoughts I kind of had today. So anyways, it's becoming a bit of a tradition, not tradition, of my habit to have coffee on Saturdays now, but only on Saturdays because I can get a little crazy with coffee sometimes. It's funny. I used to be, at work, I used to be drinking a lot of tea, and then I switched to hot water. And what happened was, I don't know, maybe a few days ago, I burnt my tongue on the hot water because I didn't let it cool down nearly enough. And now I feel like I have, my tongue is a bit numb. Has that ever happened to you? Oh, it's the worst feeling ever. So you're like trying to talk, and I feel like I'm talking like this because my tongue feels a bit numb because it's burnt a little bit, apparently. So anyways, it's annoying, but hey, it's the way it goes sometimes. So it makes me giggle a bit at the same time. So anyways. We were just having a conversation on the on Discord there today, and some people were suggesting that maybe the next DLC might be a Chrome DLC. I don't know. Some people said Class, some people said Chrome, some people said Kabuta. All are possible, really, in the end. So we'll see what it actually is. I'm not going to speculate too much. I like speculating, but I don't know what it's actually going to be in the end. So until I actually see what it is, it could be anything up until I actually get a proper announcement from Giants, because they're always like, everyone always wants to speculate what it might be. So I don't know. It's part of the fun, really, though. So anyhow, today is a gorgeous day outside. It's blue sky today. It's going to be 25 degrees today. It's going to be amazing. So probably after the stream today, I will definitely get outside, probably go fishing for a little bit, because it's such a gorgeous day. Like last weekend was it was like long weekend for us here in Canada. It was well, at least no, it was for everybody. I guess it was, yeah. Victoria Day long weekend. I guess for you Americans, this weekend would be Memorial Day weekend. I think on my calendar, apparently in the back, you can see it right there. On that calendar right there, it says Memorial Day. So I think you guys have a long weekend this weekend because of that. So, anyways, I actually was reading something about Memorial Day. Not specifically Memorial Day, but something about fishing, but related to Memorial Day. So one of the companies I like in the fishing world is called a Mystery Tackle Box, and basically what they do is they send you a subscription. It's a subscription service. They send you a tackle box full of random things every month. Anyways, so they recently partnered with something else called a Hero Box, which relates to Memorial Day. So I thought that was kind of neat. So. That was the only thing I really read about Memorial Day. So I guess it sounds like your Memorial Day. I don't know what's the difference between Memorial Day and Remembrance Day, but it sounds similar. I don't know if it's actually the same or not. But for us in Canada, we have Remembrance Day, which is on November 11th. But it sounds like it might be similar. I don't know. If you know the difference between Memorial Day, I haven't looked it up, so if you know the difference between Memorial Day and Remembrance Day, if there's a big difference or what the significance behind Memorial Day is. I'm Canadian, so I have no idea. That's why I'm asking this question. I'm not American. I could look it up, but it's always interesting to see what people's thoughts are on the topic, so that's why I ask questions like this often in these types of videos, because I'm kind of curious. I'm a curious person. Actually, finally, a little story. What happened was I was fishing, what was it, last weekend, and I got stopped twice by Conservation Ministry of Natural Resources officers. Just checking your license, you know, normal stuff they normally do when you're fishing. Ask if you have any fish, what are you fishing for, and, you know, let's see your license, basically. So I was fishing for walleye and pike, which is in season right now. And one of the conservation officers that stopped me, and I ended up asking him a lot of questions, and that was kind of interesting because I was able to clarify a few things that I wasn't quite sure about. Normally you don't do that. Normally you just, you know, give them your information, which is your license, and then they go on their way. But because I'm a curious person, I end up asking the guy like a ton of questions. Like, I think we spent like maybe 10 or 15 minutes. I think it was, yeah, about that, 10 or 15 minutes, maybe 20 even, chit-chatting about the rules, regulations, and stuff like that. It was an interesting conversation because it's not something you get to do all the time. And the nice thing was he was very generous with his time, and I said, like, sorry for taking up so much of your time. And he actually said, no, don't worry about it. This is why we're out here, to answer these types of questions. So it was very interesting. So for me, one of the most interesting things was, let's say you're fishing for walleye or you're fishing for pike or something like that, and you catch a bass out of season, which is like right now, largemouth bass isn't in season for my zone yet. Oh, it's not until, you know, the third weekend in June. Anyway, so if you catch a bass that's out of season and you take a picture of it, you could, and you put it on, if you put it on, you know, Facebook or something like that, you could get charged, or you could get a fine for not releasing the fish immediately, because it explicitly says in the Ontario guideline that you have to release the fish immediately. So if you don't, and you put it on Facebook, you could get charged or get a fine for that. So I thought it was kind of interesting, actually. So, word to the wise for you guys out there. If you take a picture of a bass out of season, or I should say don't take a picture of a bass out of season, absolutely don't take a picture, because you're supposed to release them immediately. And if a conservation officer sees you do that, they can fine you because you're not releasing it immediately. So anyways, randomly I'm going to stop talking about fishing, and I'll keep just going on forever. But if you're interested, I do have a fishing channel as well, where I go out and fish for random things like perch and sunfish and carp sometimes, and bass when it's in season, and pike. So I'll leave a link in the top right hand corner. For me it's the left, but top right hand corner over there if you're curious about my other channel. It's called The Fishing Experiment, where I try out different things to see if I can catch fish, or experiment with different types of fish I've never caught before. Like carp, only in the last couple of years have I actually gotten into carp fishing a little bit, and I really enjoyed it, actually, because carp fight amazingly. So that's why I really enjoy it. Apparently catfish are like that too, but I haven't had very much catching catfish. So like I said, if you're interested, I'll put a link in the top right hand corner for you guys to check it out. If you're not, that's fine too, don't worry about it. It's my secondary. It's what I do when I'm not gaming. That's what I do in the summer a lot. So if you ever wonder why, let's say I'm not on Discord, for example, usually it's because I'm fishing. So if you're ever wondering that. So anyways, oh goodness, yeah, I love fishing. It's gives me an excuse to get outside, because with YouTube it keeps me inside a lot. Sometimes I go outside and do YouTube stuff sometimes, but it's not necessarily for this channel. It's for my other channel. So I don't know, because I like doing YouTube, I enjoy it. I like interacting with people. It's part of the reason why I teach English. That's the reason why I like doing YouTube, because you get to interact with people, ask them questions, and talk about various topics, like, let's say, anything from fishing all the way up to English, I suppose. But that's pretty rare that I talk about English, unless I'm correcting somebody who's made a mistake. But I try not to do that too often when I'm talking to people. Most people don't appreciate it. So coffee's so good. Today it's the awesome President's Choice espresso beans today. So it's pretty good. I actually like those ones. I think they're actually meant for espressos, obviously, but we drink them as coffee, a regular coffee. So it's pretty good. I enjoy it quite a bit. Anyways, wow, it's been 10 minutes already. Okay, so anyways, I'll stop talking. Hope you enjoyed this episode of Coffee with Iain. it's mostly like a random assortment of things that I talk about. So if you want to see more, hit that like button, and we'll do some more in the future. So my name's Ian Robson. I hope you enjoyed, and catch you guys later.